You are listening to episode number 7 of the Happy Choir podcast. Hola people! Quickly, tell me what you had for breakfast. I am your host, Carlos Cordero, helping you connect with others through choral music. I promise I have a good explanation for that first question out of nowhere. But first, I want to say that no matter if you're a singer, a composer, or a conductor of choral music, this is your place to share and to learn. I'm really looking forward for next year to have amazing interviews that will help us learn even more. In this episode, we're going to explore and to learn how to create an environment that allows you to achieve what you plan. I've practiced this a lot and I'm still learning, but I have some insights to share with you. I want you to be prepared for the high, for the lows, for the expected, and even for the unexpected. As impossible as this sounds, I feel that I've been able to predict some of the things that might happen in my career or in my life, and at the end, it helps me to accomplish something. It helps me to reach my goals. First of all, I want to thank you for being here and for wanting to learn more and to share with me these 10 to 15 minutes each week. Just so you and I are prepared for next year, I'm planning for the interviews to be around 40 to 60 minutes, so let's see what happens with that. I want to also share with you that my patrons at patreon.com allow me to keep growing my brand and my business. And as I keep growing as a composer, I also keep learning a lot, how to be prepared for anything, and I share it with you. I share it there in my Patreon and in my social media, the process that it is to create a new piece. Patreon.com/composercordero is the link you want to check out. Or maybe you want to share it. My goal before this year ends, if I hadn't met it yet, because I'm recording this episode before, is 10 patrons. If you can't give right now, because I understand that we all have a lot of expenses in our life, maybe sharing it with others will be the best way that you can help right now. I also want to invite you to my website, thehappychoir.com, where I've uploaded a free guide for you to find how to be a happy composer, happy conductor, or happy singer. This guide contains the questions that I ask myself in order to learn what it's really important for me. It's not only a free guide that you get by subscribing to my newsletter, but also you get a coupon for $20 discount on your next choral recording and also content specially made for you and your choir. Now let's explore together how to be prepared to make your goals come true. When you have a plan, two things can happen, and you may know which one happens most of the time. The first one, you have all the time in the world. There is no noise and nothing can distract you. Yeah, right. That happens 0.01%. I don't know. In the second one, you have distractions. All of the things are ringing, buzzing, notifications here, people calling you with some drama in their life or with some good news or bad news or anything can happen, right? Anything that takes you out of your focus zone, it's a distraction. And I have an example for you of something very successful. Have you noticed how buying online is easier and easier? It seems like you just have to make one click and the thing that you want is right there at your door. They are looking to fight resistance. It's actually proven that when you take too many clicks or too much time to make a decision to buy something, your mind will wander to something else. You will get distracted. You will second guess your decision of buying something. That's why they are making it even easier. You just click and bam, they have your money, right? So the same happens, for example, when people are buying a ticket for a concert. If it is too difficult to get to the checkout, then they will find something else that might be more interested or even easier to buy. In the last episode, we were talking about planning for success, and this is step number 1. This is important, but then we come to action, and that's the next paramount step. And I'm trying to breaking it down for you to see that I get overwhelmed when I have to do these plans and when I have to get a project from beginning to end. But now that I discovered all these different ways that I can organize myself and be more productive, I actually enjoy more the process. And it's fun for me to see a project evolve from an initial idea to the end of my goal. I am a composer and I can plan to do a lot. But if there's no action, if there's no this important step, then I'm screwed. Many of the podcasts that I listen to regularly always mention this. Gary Vee, Seth Godin, Andrew Hitz in the Entrepreneurial Musician, with which again, go listen to it, it's amazing. They always talk about how important it is to ship and to fix any issue that appears in the way. It's important to have a good product, yeah. It's paramount to have a great product, but you need to deliver what you do in order to be able to improve and learn from what you already delivered to your audience. They will help you figure out how to make it better, but you have to deliver. So, in this moment, after we did the planning of the last episode, now we are setting up all of the session and all of the things, all of the tools that you will need to make this the best journey possible. Life is full of temptations. I used to be overweight and it was not healthy for me. It was until the point that they told me you need to lose weight or you will be sick because of this. So I was very scared and already having some symptoms, headaches, migraines. But I had to do a lot of diet programs that were difficult to stick to because there were a lot of rules and I was stubborn, I don't know. But the thing is that until I discovered meal prep, that was when I felt that I could do it. Meal prep means to be ready for success. In your journey of losing weight, you will find a lot of food that it's easier to eat, that it's more delicious, that it's there for you right now. But if you prepare for this temptation and you have all your meals ready, then it's easier for you to stay healthy and to stay within the food that you need to eat in order to lose weight. You want to create an environment for success. In composition, for example, this means to have the laptop, the pencil, the books, the keyboard, anything that you really use to create your piece. They have to be ready for you in your desk, in your office. Ask yourself, this is an important part. Ask yourself, what are the tools and information that you need to complete the task you want? If you don't have this, then you will start to wonder, and something more important or something more interesting will appear. Let's be honest, sometimes we don't want to do work, and if Facebook comes just in a corner of your eye, then you are there for 2 hours. So ask yourself what you need and have it ready before you sit down to work. I even read once that some artists leave their software open. If it's Finale, Word, Photoshop, anything that they use for their art, they have it ready there when they open their laptop or their desktop, and there is no way to go around it. You have to go to your project. It might be a little exaggerated, but if it works, it works. Anything that can lead us to our creative time and our projects, it's awesome. Another example that we can all relate is the gym example. Most people I know hate going to the gym. I love it, but sometimes I'm tired and I don't want to go really. But I discovered that if I go with someone, I'm starting going with my husband, so that's easier for us to keep each other accountable. Hold each other accountable, is that I think that you say? I think that's a phrase, I'm not sure. But for me, the days that he's not in here, I need to have my clothes, my bag, with all the equipment, and even the water bottle, even the water bottle ready for me to go the next day. If these things are ready, that's difficult to say, these things. If these things are ready, then it's easier for me to say yes and to go to the gym and exercise. But if I have to start looking for my headphones and where is my cell phone, I don't know which clothes I'm wearing today and where did I leave my bag, then I'll just say no. I mean, it's easier for me to know to say no and watch some TV or record something, or I don't know. There are many things that are far more easier to do than just sweat in the gym for 1 hour, right? Since I'm a composer, I thought that I will share with you my 5 tips to be prepared to write music. But you can also take these tips and apply it to your career. Apply it if you're a singer, if you have to prepare a piece for your next rehearsal, or if you have to study for an audition, if you're a conductor and you're preparing your next rehearsal or how to study a piece. You can change some of the wording of these tips, but basically they will help you. My first tip is to hide or to close your internet browser from your computer. It's important, even if you can go airplane mode or turn off your Wi-Fi if you can, because I know that there are some works that require internet. But it's important that you put some boundaries there to not go and waste 2 hours on the internet. And I do it a lot. I find new things to buy or daydream that I can buy, things that I can learn, or I find new poems that I want to send to music, although it's not the time to be finding more poems because I have these other things to write. You name it. There are a lot of things on the internet that will distract us and that will be a temptation for you. There are some websites that you can find and block social media, for example, or specific pages so you can concentrate on your work. Either way, hide it or close it and it will help you. My second tip is to clean your office or working place. And you have bonus points if you do this at the end of the day. In fact, this is the end of my day here after recording the podcast. And I'm expecting to do it, to clean my office, but maybe not. But when I do it, I know that at the next day I'm more prepared. My office feels more welcoming for my art. So I have to do it. It's important. The tip number 3 is if you use an instrument, leave it close to you, ready to play. If you have to tune it, and if you have to connect it, have it connected. I sometimes don't have my own keyboard connected in my office because it takes too much room, and I can see how sometimes I feel, I have to go find my keyboard and connect it to be able to write this music. Yeah, childish reaction, I know, but I have it sometimes, and it's okay, but I can avoid it. My next tip is to leave your phone far from you. That's a big distraction. And if you can have it in airplane mode, bonus points. Because I feel sometimes that the things that come through my phone, I have to deal with them right now. And that's not the case. When I leave it out of my office, out of my creative session, it helps me. And in fact, sometimes I use my cell phone for recording during my creative sessions. Yes, I can do it. But then it's when I put it on airplane mode and I'm not bothered by anything that's happening in the world. My last tip is to prepare your meals the night before and keep them on the fridge. And this is also this might sound like too much, but that can also distract you. If you are having a hard time in your creative time or something that you're studying, it's easier to say, I'm going to prepare something, and you spend 2 or 3 hours preparing the food, 15 minutes eating, and then 1 or 2 hours doing the dishes because we know how that happens, right? But if we have everything ready, that's something less to worry on our day. I would also love to know, how do you prepare for what you need to do? How do you prepare for success? Leave it in the comments of the show notes or email me at carlos@thehappychoir.com. I would love to know and to share with my audience too your ideas to prepare for success, on how to prepare for success. As I just said, remember that there are show notes at thehappychoir.com/podcast and then find the episode number. Remember that my goal is to help you connect with others through choral music. And I want to know if there is something that I can do better in my podcast or in my blog, and on the whole brand of The Happy Choir. I'm always open to hear suggestions. See you in the next episode of The Happy Choir Podcast. Ciao, people! You've been listening to The Happy Choir Podcast. For more information and show notes, visit thehappychoir.com. You are listening to episode number 8 of The Happy Choir Podcast. Hola people, I am Carlos Cordero. That's always funny for me. It sounds like... Can you hear that? It sounds really weird, I know. But anyway, I am Carlos Cordero, host of the Happy Choir Podcast, helping you connect with others through choral music. And I know I said that I will try different statements for this line after my name, and I really like this, so I'm going to stick with this one to see how it works in the future too. Something that I've learned in my career is that I work hard and I get a lot of accomplishments and a lot of failures too. But today's episode is about enjoying the rewards of your hard work, learning to sit back and see everything that we've accomplished in the last year, month, week, no matter the time, just to learn to enjoy what we've accomplished is healthy and important. I want to remind you that no matter if you're a singer, a conductor, or a composer, the Happy Choir podcast is your place to learn and to share with others, to connect through choral music. So, as I said, in this episode, I want to explore why it is important to celebrate even the small things we get because of our hard work. As musicians, it is easy to work hard and just practice and practice more, and we're really passionate about the next thing that we can accomplish, the next piece that we can write. But I've learned that it's also important to sit back and to enjoy, to see what we have done. Here in Texas, the weather is going crazy and there is a lot of allergies now, so I'm sorry about a little bit of a runny nose that I have and my voice is a little bit of, I don't know. It sounds weird, but I didn't want that to stop me from recording this episode because I feel it's the perfect time to do something like this. For now, I just remember that last time, in the last episode, I asked you what you had for breakfast, and I failed to tell you why I asked that, so the whole point was to relate it to always being ready at any time. It's my bad for not explaining it on episode 7, but hey, at least I remember one episode later. This podcast helps me celebrating my accomplishments, because I get to share them with you, and to say thank you for being here. Also, my patrons at patreon.com are part of my studio and my life as an artist. What's amazing is that they don't only help me to celebrate my accomplishments, but also they are the ones helping me keep this podcast online. They are the ones who cover the finances that I have to pay monthly to keep this podcast live. Patreon.com/composercordero is the link you want to check out or to share. My goal before 2019 ends is to reach 10 patrons, and if you can't give right now, I totally understand. The holidays are really a tough time to give. But you can also share it, and that's very helpful for me. Your presence here and you listening to my voice, it's an incredible support already to the Happy Choir podcast. Remember that everything that I mention here, if they have a link or a website, I will put it on the show notes so you don't have to worry about having to write anything. Also there in my website, you will be able to subscribe to my newsletter. You will get a free guide to learn how to be a happy composer, conductor, or singer. You will get a coupon for a $20 off discount of your next choral recording, and you will get content specially made for you and your choir. Now it's time to get to business and to talk about how to enjoy those rewards of our hard work. For the topic of today, I think it's important to acknowledge that we as musicians are very passionate and hardworking people. And even then, when we don't feel like we are hardworking people, we're trying to get better, not only in our career, but also in our personal life. We practice a lot, or even spend a lot of hours trying to get something. Even if that it's losing weight, or buying new gear, or singing in 15 concerts. It feels that as soon as we get something, we run to the next thing and start stressing out because now we don't have something else or we haven't accomplished that next thing. I think that you might be seeing where I'm going to. We keep being unsatisfied with what we have or what we get instead of just stopping for a second. I choose to talk about this because I like working and it makes me feel more useful. When I'm helping people, I feel more active, more passionate about my career. If you're a composer and you want to chat with me, find me on Facebook or email, and I'm sure I will try to find some time to help you or to share with you my experience. Oh, do you hear that? To share with you my experience, and you can make your decisions on your own. But I love working. So that's why it's difficult for me to stop. If I'm writing, I feel productive. If I'm recording this episode, I feel productive. I struggle with enjoying the rewards of my hard work. And that's something that I'm trying to change little by little. It's one step at a time, right? I wonder if you struggle too. I would love if you can email me or leave in the comments your story, and I would love to read if you are able to enjoy the rewards of your hard work. It is important, or at least I feel it is important, to enjoy what we do. And when we finally get what we were working for, there should be an arrival point, especially during this time of the year, right? It feels that at the end of a year, there is this big cycle that it's closing, and I feel it's important to stop and breathe and just smile because we get something, or just be grateful that we are slowly going forward. I realized this year that when I stop to celebrate and to enjoy what I just accomplished, it gives me strength. Okay, that's not how you say that word, but it gives me strength. I think that's how you said it. And it gives me fire to keep going. It helps me to recover energies that I just used in this big or little task. It helps me go into the next thing with a new mindset. It's not anymore of, oh, I'm so stressed about this, but hey, I got this, I'm grateful, I'm charged, let's go for the next thing. I'm not stressed or unappreciative. During this time of the year, as I just said, people tend to look back. They tend to think of what has happened and what were they missing in the year. Many things go through our mind. I don't know if you've noticed that Spotify is making kind of a year in review, and Facebook will probably too. And as I'm recording this, Jennifer Rosenfeld, co-creator of iCadenza, is giving an incredible 5-day course that it's free. The course, it's called the $10,000 Month Musician Challenge. It is amazing how incredible, fun, and crazy adventure this is. And I wanted to share with you one of the exercises that it's called a year in review. I want to be an echo of that because it's really helpful. When I sat down and did that, I could see that I had a lot to be grateful for in the past, that somehow I missed to recognize it the way that it should have because of my own emotions in the moment. I think that I want to start this with a question. When social media platforms show you all that happened in your year, how do you feel? How do you feel about it? I've seen this on Facebook, on Instagram, but what I'm really interested is, how does it make you feel? For me, it can be nostalgic, happy, sad, mad. There are so many emotions, and each one of them is valid. They're all valid, but it reminds me of what I've gone through this year. The exercise, a year in review, allows you to learn more from what you have done. You can think about it as a whole year, or quarterly, or even monthly, the things that helps you the most. And this is important because, as I heard in Pat Flynn's podcast, if you don't analyze what you've been doing, then how are you going to learn from them? The year in review that Jennifer Rosenfeld brought for us consists on making 2 lists. The first list will contain the happy or positive moments of the year. The second one will be the negative or challenging moments that you have gone through this year. Again, if it helps you, you can get your calendar and see your plans and what happened, what not, what you missed, what you went to. All these things, professional or personal, are valid. Then, the second list will be all about yes and no. On the yes side, we're going to put everything that we want to say yes to next year. Everything that we want more of. If we want to write more SSA pieces, or if we want to sing more challenging scores, anything that you really want to happen next year or to happen again. On the personal or professional side, remember that anything is valid here. Now on the no list, you guess, you're going to put everything that you want to stay away from. Thanks to your list of the negative things, you can see the things that you didn't enjoy as much, and that can help you filling out your no list. Although I think that most of us have an idea of what we want to say no to. For example, for me, I know that I don't want to overthink so much next year, and also I don't want to have so much financial anxiety. It can be a hard list to make because you have to remember things that might have not been so happy. Or it can be encouraging because maybe you realized that you had a wonderful year, and maybe it happens to you as it did for me. Even though I had a challenging year with my emotional health, I realized that I've had kind of a awesome year. I am growing as a composer, I am doing things that I've never thought I will be doing, and that's awesome, that's great. It's slow, and I always like things that to go faster. But again, sitting back, breathing, and enjoying the rewards of my hard work, it's important. I would like to add on to this exercise and to invite you to choose one or two things in your yes or no list and explain why. Why is it that you want more of it, or why you want to stay away from fill in the blank? It might help you to know more about yourself. It doesn't have to be only of your choral life or your life as a whole, as a person. As I record this, I can't help but realize that it's the end of another year, and we won't have another 2019. So it's important for me to ask myself, what did I accomplish this year? And even if I think it's small, I want to name it, I want to write it, because it helps me, and I think that it can help you as well. I want you to celebrate it and to look at it with new eyes. Just remember to email me, how do you celebrate your success? Email me your year in review if you want to share it with me. And just to be an echo of this incredible exercise that Jennifer Rosenfeld shared with us. Remember that you can find in thehappychoir.com the show notes of this podcast, along with the links that I mentioned here. And I just hope that I can help you connect with others through choral music. I am always open to know if you think there's something I can do differently to make this podcast even more helpful for you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Happy Choir Podcast. Ciao, people. You've been listening to the Happy Choir Podcast. For more information and show notes, visit thehappychoir.com. You are listening to episode number 9 of the Happy Choir Podcast. Hola people, I am your host Carlos Cordero, helping you connect with others through choral music. This episode is very short, and it's only to tell you how excited I am for 2020 and to keep exploring the choral world and learning how to enjoy even more this that we do as choral artists. No matter if you're a singer, a composer, or a conductor, remember that this is your place and this will be your place next year to share and to connect with others, even with my guests as they come and as I learn how to interview them. Also, remember to share this podcast with your friends, with your conductor, and with everybody that you think that this can be helpful for them or that they might be interested to participate in. I would love to hear what you want to know and what you want me to research and to talk about here. That will help me knowing who are the people that I want to interview for you and what are the questions that I want to ask them. It's funny that I mentioned two conductors and friends separated, but you know what I meant. I meant composers, singers, conductors, audience, anybody that it's crazy and love choral music. I hope you have an amazing end of the year, and I talk to you real soon. Ciao, people. You've been listening to the Happy Choir Podcast. For more information and show notes, visit thehappychoir.com.